Okay, welcome to Math Grade 4. I am glad to be back, and we are done with learning about fractions, and now we're going to be learning about decimals. But before we get to the decimals, let's just look for a second here. I have put 1/10. I have made a number line showing 1/10, and I have my favorite old chocolate bar, and it's divided into 1/10. So each one of these is a way you can say 1 part out of 10 equal parts. So mathematicians have come up with a way that is simpler for saying 1/10. And mathematicians have come up with something called the decimal notation. So this is where we don't use this fraction line. We are going to use a decimal. It's called a decimal point. So 1/10 written as a fraction is this way. 1/10 written as a decimal is this. So this means the 0 in front means I have no whole chocolate bars, and the 1 behind it says I have 1 part of a chocolate bar. So that is, we say 1/10. So if that is 1/10. If we had 2/10, how do you think we'd write that as a decimal? You're right, 0.2. And we say 2/10, 2/10. What was if we had 8/10? What do you think that would be as a decimal? Correct, 0.8, 8/10. 5/10 as a fraction, and we would write it how as a decimal? Right, 0.5, 5/10. And so that would work with all of them. I could do 9/10, and that would be equal 0.9, 9/10. Okay, the 0 just tells you again that there are no whole chocolate bars. So here I'm not getting any whole chocolate bars, I'm just getting parts of a chocolate bar. So it means it is less than 1. I don't have a whole 1, I have less than 1 here. Here I have less than 1. I'm almost at 1. I would have all of this colored in, so I'm almost at 1, but I'm not quite there yet. So I have to put a 0 in front saying that I'm not quite there yet. So I have this number line, and it's divided into 10 pieces, tenths. So this is 0, and there's 1. So what do you think? This would be 1/10 of it, and we would write that as a decimal as 0.1, 1/10. This would be, you're right, 2/10. This would be 3/10. This one would be 4/10. This one would be 5/10. This one is 6/10, 7/10, 8/10, 9/10. Now I wonder how you would write 0 as a decimal. Some of you are very clever and have said 0.0. I have no whole ones and no parts. So if I wanted to write 1 as a decimal, I have 1 whole 1 and no parts. So that's how I would write 1 in decimal notation. And that's how I'd write 0 in decimal notation. Okay. So here's an activity for us to do this. So when I say pause, in a minute you are going to pause and see if you can figure out the decimal and the fraction for each marked point. So you want to come up with a decimal and a fraction for each marked point. So pause. Okay, you're back. So I would say that A that would be 1/10, 2/10, 3/10. So I would say it's 3/10 as a fraction, and it would be 3/10 as a decimal. Oh, I didn't leave myself very much space, so I'm going to put B over here. So if this is 3, that would be 4. So 4/10 is where the B is at, and I would write it that way as a decimal. C, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9/10, and that would be 9/10. So I hope that you were all able to figure that out and to get those right. Awesome. Okay, here we are. So now I've drawn some pictures and we're going to be looking at the tenths in this. So each one of my pictures, I hope, has 10. I'll quickly count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, they all have 10. Awesome. I got tenths. So now they've told me that they would like me to color in with my crayon what 2 tenths would look like. And so I can color in 1 and I can color in 2. So that shows 2 tenths because 2 of my pieces are colored in. That's what it means if it's behind the decimal. It's pieces. Okay, pieces of something divided into 10. So here I have to show 3 pieces divided into 10. Turn my hand this way, go that one, and you're just imagining that that's all colored in so nicely. And that would show 3 tenths because my thing is divided into tens and I have 3 of them colored. So this one would be 5 tenths. And I'm quickly going to color in this whole side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 tenths. And my last one says I need to color in 7 tenths. So I'm going to do lines 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tenths. So that shows 7 tenths. So now in a second you're going to pause and see if you can figure out what the decimal is for the pictures. So you're going to figure out what's the decimal for this one, this one, this one, and this one. So pause and come back in a second. Okay, you're back. So I hope that for this one you said that there's no whole ones and you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 parts. So it is 8 tenths. For this one, I'm going to start with 0 because there's no whole chocolate bar all colored in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 tenths. This one, it starts with a 0. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tenths. And the last one, I have no whole ones. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them colored in. So it is 8 tenths. I hope that you got those all right. Okay. Now we are going to be looking at what is the place value and the value of these numbers. So now we're just going to look at this number 3,982 and 6 tenths, and we need to tell what is the place value of the 8. Whose place is he in? Is he in the ones place, the tens, the hundreds, the thousands? Where is he? And I see that this is the ones place. This is the tens. These guys in the hundreds. And this guy's in the thousands. And this guy here, he's behind that decimal. So when I say him, I'm going to say 6 tenths. That means something was divided into 10 pieces and I get 6 of those pieces. So my place value of my 8 is he is a 10. What is the value of him? What is he worth, these 8 tens? That is worth 80. So my 8 is in the tens place and his value is 80. So now if I was to ask you, where is the 3? What's the place value of the 3? And you would say thousands. And what is that 3? What's his value? His value is 3,000. So if I was to ask you the 6, which place value is the 6 in? And you would say the tenths. And if I was to figure out how much is that, what's the value of my 6, I would have to say it's 6 tenths. Let's try the 9. Where is the 9? The 9 is in the hundreds. So his value is 900. I guess the only number we haven't done yet is the 2. So the 2 is in the ones place, and his value is 2. That's what he is. He's worth 2. So if we look at this number, I'm going to say what is the place value of the 1? So the 1 is in, what's his place value? He is in the thousands, and he is worth, his value is 1,000. What about the 7? The 7 is in the ones place, you're right. And that makes him worth 7. His value is 7. What about the 0? Whose place is the 0 in? You're right, he's in the hundreds place. And what is his value? What's he worth? Nothing. How about the 4? It's in the tenths place. And his value is 4 tenths. Okay, I'm going to stop the video now, and I will come back in a minute and we will do the exercise. Oh, this will be the end of this video, and you have to go to the second video.